You can now natively ship your Lovable web application into the Apple App Store, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how. So let's get right started with that. First of all, as you can see, I already have my Lovable project, and I need to make sure that my Lovable project is published. That is all I need to do. And then I need to sign up for Despia. Despia allows you to ship your web application as a native mobile application with one-click deployment, native device SDKs, source code export, and automated over-the-air updates, meaning if you change something in the Lovable app, you can just click a button and it's live published to all your users, so you don't have to wait 10 days to fix critical issues inside of your application. And it's very important. So let's get started for free, because you can build your first application for free. And I want to show you how cool that is. So let's create a new application here. That application name, I'm just going to call that iOS Master. Just like that, iOS Master. Important is app names in Apple never have spaces or any special characters, so you want to write them as one word. Now we need the web app start URL. That will be your Lovable start URL. So in this example, we are just going to go inside of the Lovable editor, and we're going to copy our Lovable publishing URL. And now we're going to go back into Despia, and we're going to paste this right inside of here. And now it already automatically generated a bundle ID. You can change it to be your own bundle ID. You can do com.mycompany.myappname. In this example, I'm just going to have it com.despia.iosmaster, so I know it's an available bundle ID. And now let's go and create new application. Now, this will create a new native project inside of Despia, which will convert our Lovable application into a real native mobile app. So now we need to do a few things. We need to get an app icon designed. So if you do not have an app icon yet, you can create one. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a cut because I'm going to design one real quick. So now, as you can see, I already have an icon designed inside of Canva. It's very important that the icon needs to be 1024 by 1024 pixels exactly. Anything below that or above that will cause a build error. So very important to note. But now I can go inside of Despia. I can go to the icon section and I can upload that icon, which I already have done. Now, the next thing is the splash screen GIF. Most people forget that. You need to have a GIF that is kind of like just the same image as your icon or your app name. What I usually like to do is I just, go to my image and take my icon here inside of Canva, put it inside of here. You can use any other tool. I'm just using Canva because I'm not a graphic design professional. And then it's very important that you just download this, but it needs to be downloaded as a GIF, meaning you can also animate it if you want a cool animation on there. So now we're just going to take the current page, and it needs to be a GIF file. Very important, it needs to be a transparent GIF file. The icon itself, the app icon, cannot be transparent, but the splash screen GIF, that is the icon that you will see when the app is starting, that should definitely be with transparent background. Now, actually, in this example, I want the icon actually to be black, and I want the background in here to be white. So let's actually edit that real quick, and let's just put this inside of here. Let's download that, and let's make sure that we're downloading the current page and we're getting this as a GIF and with transparent background. And it also needs to be 1024 by 1024 precisely. Very important. Otherwise, you will risk your build to fail. So let's just wait till we get that GIF, but you can certainly animate that if that's something that you want to do. So let's just wait till it generates that GIF, and then we're just going to upload that. So we can already go into Despia, and we can already go here on upload, and we can already click on upload for the splash screen. which, as you can see, we have this splash screen layout section that you can just click on upload icon and then you'll upload your splash screen icon. Now I just downloaded it. So let's put this into our desktop here and let's drag this inside of the file uploader. Boom. And now let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Perfect. So now I have it exactly looking the way I want. And there are more configurations I can set up. I can set up OneSignal, I can set up revenue CAD, all that kind of stuff. I can adjust the offline screen. I can do all those kinds of settings. Now, the only setting I would suggest you to enable is full screen mode. That's it. You don't have to worry about the other stuff while you are, kind of like starting the first publishing. Now, you want to probably take a look at the add-ons if they interest you. If you want Face ID or some of those native app-wide features, you can enable them, like biometric app lock, background location tracking, screen shield, associated domains. I would highly suggest always on your first publish, make sure you already have associated domains set up. You always want them in every application, so just make sure it's on. And then there are all the dynamic SDKs that you can also set up, but those are the things that you actually set up in your Lovable project. And then we actually have the targets. They are essentially mini applications that you can include inside of your application, like smart widgets that you can visually configure without writing a single line of code, or app clips, which let you build app clips that you can visually configure without writing a single line of code. Or share into app. You can enable them and then they will be included as package dependencies. So let's say we don't want any of them and we just want to publish the application. Despia actually now, and this is new, gives you one free demo test, meaning you get the chance to deploy your application one time for free. And we're covering all the cloud resources that are attached to that. And it's a little bit of money that it costs us, but we want to sponsor that towards your application so you can get familiar with it and you can see how amazing Despia actually is. So let's go and claim your free cloud credit. And now I can build the application. Now, I do already have my Apple developer account linked here. You see, that is my developer account. But for the sake of this video, because you probably don't have your developer account already linked yet, I'm going to show you how you can also create that integration. So let's assume I do not have an Apple developer account yet linked with Despia, but I already have an account, so I can build the application. Let's go on add new developer account. This will open an accordion. And you can scroll down, and now you're just going to register it with your developer account. So what this means is we're going to go to appstoreconnect.apple.com, and we are going to go to Users and Access. This will now allow us to create a native integration with the Despia build tool. So I'm going to go to Integrations here, and I'm going to create a new integration. So I'm going to go on Active, and there is this plus. Now, when you are new to the AppStore Connect, it will probably say enable the AppStore Connect API. Please agree and continue. Do that, and then you'll see an interface such as this, where you just click on the plus, and you're going to call this Despia CICD. I'm just going to do 2 because I already have one. Or you can just call it Despia. And important is the role needs to be App Manager. Not admin, not developer, not anything else. It needs to be exactly App Manager or the integration will not work. So let's generate this API key. And now you will see we have it all the way down here. And let's start copying some stuff. Let's copy the issuer ID first. This is all the way up here. So we just copy the issuer ID and we go back into Despia. We go now to account issuer ID and we're going to paste this right inside of here. Now we need the Connect API key ID, the ID of the key, not the key itself. So we're going to go back to the AppStore Connect to our new API key, this one right here, and I'm going to copy the key ID. Now we're going to go back to Despia and we're going to paste this here inside of the key ID. Now we need to get the P8 key file. So let's download this. And the important note is you can only download it once. Once you have it downloaded, you will never be able to get it again. So make sure that you store it in a safe location. But should you lose it, Despia is already storing that for you. So while you don't have to worry about getting it, you should always keep a copy of it. Let's download this. And now we will get this auth key here that we'll be able to then upload into the Despia editor. Meaning I just go on upload API key, and I will now drag the API key right inside of here. Let's go on done, and you see there is this confirmation that the key was uploaded. Now the last thing is the development team ID. And Apple has made it very complicated to find that, because everything that we need was available to us now in the AppStore Connect. But the only thing that you will not be able to find in the AppStore Connect is the development team ID. In order to get your development team ID, you need to go to developer.apple.com. Completely different application, and then you will be able to go on identifiers, certificates. Just click on certificates, identifiers, and profiles, and in the top right corner you'll see your company name, and the ID next to it is your development team ID. You just simply copy that, go back into Despia, and paste this inside of here. And now you see you can click on link with Apple. This will load a little bit, and now your developer account has been added. And then you just select your developer account inside of Despia. Now it's related. So now we have the application, we have added the developer account to sign and build the application with your profile. So the application is your property and we're not signing stuff for you. This all happens under your account. So you get all the ownability and the ownership of the artifact that you're generating here. Now we need to link it with a store listing, because this this AppStore API here, this Connect integration, will help you sign the application. But now we also need to have a store listing and relate this application with a store listing. So we go back to the AppStore Connect account, and we now need to go to apps. And here's the problem that will happen. You will now want to create your application, and it will ask you for a bundle ID, but you don't have a bundle ID yet. Now, we have issued one in Despia, but we can't create it inside of here because it's not in there yet. So there is this call to action under this bundle ID selection saying, register a new bundle ID in certificates, identifiers, and profiles. We want to click on that. And now this will bring us to the Apple developer, meaning developer.apple.com profile, to register a new application bundle ID. So let's do this. Let's do a description, because you want to name them accurately, because otherwise you'll completely lose track of everything. Let's name this iOS Master, and I'm just going to name this after my application name. Now, where do I get the bundle ID? If you forgot it, you can get the bundle ID if you scroll all the way up here in this publishing panel under App Bundle ID. So you can just copy this here, and you can go back to the Apple developer account and paste this inside of here under the bundle ID. It needs to be explicit. There you go. So now we need to enable native capabilities for this bundle ID. The first one will be app attest. The second one will be app groups. The third one will be associated domains. Very important. You always want to have them on, even if you don't use them. And then if we scroll a little bit more down, the next one that we will find is iCloud. So we need to enable iCloud. That will be the fourth one. And we need to make sure that we include CloudKit support. There you go. And now we just scroll a little bit more down and look for push notifications. Let's go on the checkbox, and let's also check again broadcast capability. Very important. That means you can send them remotely. There you go. And that's about it. Now, if you want to add sign in with Apple, also make sure to check in sign in with Apple, but it requires some configuration. So I would just suggest uncheck this, and then once you are ready to set up sign in with Apple, enable it, set it up correctly, because this can sometimes cause build failures, which you don't want to have. There you go. That's all we need. So let's go on continue, and now let's click on register. This now registered this bundle ID. Now there's more to register. If we take a look here, this bundle ID, this name is now registered with Apple. So we can now continue and create the store listing. Yet we need to do a little bit more procedures to get it building successfully that you don't want to skip. But now that we have this bundle ID, we can go back to the AppStore Connect, reload the page, just so everything is refreshed. And now we can click on plus here, create a new app. Let's call this app iOS Master. It will be for the iOS ecosystem. The primary language will be English US, and the bundle ID now will be iOS Master. And the SKU will just be your app name all in caps. So iOS Master with no spaces. And then I will just grant full access to my team because I trust them. Let's create. And now you have your store listing created. Now, as you can see, we are on the iOS Master, just like this. So now we need to go to App Information. And now we will find under App Information, under General Information, the Apple ID. And that is the App Store listing ID that needs to be linked with the Despia editor. So Despia can update your App Store listing for your Lovable application. Let's copy this here. And now we're going to go back into Despia. We're going to scroll down a little bit under Build Configuration, right? This accordion that we have inside of here. And we're just going to paste the ID. That's all we need to do. Now, a lot of people are tempted into clicking Publish Project. Don't do this. You're just going to lose your test credit, and then you got to purchase to build more. So don't click at all on Publish yet. Don't do it, because you're going to waste your test credit for nothing, and we don't want that. You need to configure all of the bundles here that are attached to your application, even if you don't use the modules. So those are the targets. And you say, hey, I'm not using smart widgets. I'm not using app clips. I'm not using share into app. But you still need to register them so that the build process can actually uninclude them, like remove them from your application. So they still need to be registered for the build process reasons. It's a little bit of a tedious job to do, but I'll walk you through that step by step, because once you get it, it's actually quite simple. So for that, we need to go back to developer.apple.com. So now inside of here, we are on developer.apple.com, and we are now going to log into our account. And now we go to identifiers, and let's get this all set up now. We're going to create a new identifier that will be an app ID. We're going to go on continue. The type will be app, and we're going to continue again. Now we're going to register the first app group and the first bundle with an app group. So we're going to go back to Despia, and now we see we're trying to register the OneSignal target. So we see push bundle ID. I'm going to copy the push bundle ID, and now I'm going to go back to Apple Developer, and I'm going to paste it right inside of here. This will now register the OneSignal native module. Because Despia is now built on a modular system, meaning we can add more dependencies and more native features faster that are conditional without you having to kind of like always do a major update that's going to change the whole structure of everything else. Now, it does, though, include that you register some of the core ones. So the description would be, in this example, your app name, iOS Master, and then I'm just going to do OneSignal bundle. Just like that. iOS Master OneSignal bundle. So I know that this is the OneSignal bundle to kind of like get everything nicely organized. And now specifically for this OneSignal bundle, there are following capabilities that we want to include. Now, every sub-app bundle, so all of those ones here, right? They all need to have app groups enabled because they have to link to an app group to include this native capability during the build process. But you want to make sure that the first thing you do is app groups. But there's some that need to have other capabilities. For example, this OneSignal bundle will need to have app groups, associated domains, and you want to scroll all the way down and, of course, include push notifications broadcast capability. So you do push notifications broadcast capability. So this OneSignal bundle here will have app groups, it will have associated domains, and push notifications broadcast capability, which is the subsetting for that. There you go. That's all we need. And now we're going to continue and register this. Now we have it registered. Now the next step is registering the app group for this OneSignal target. So let's copy this app group here, and let's go back to the Apple developer account. Let's create a new identifier, and this identifier this time will not be an app ID. So we will scroll down a little bit. This will be an app group, because the app group is used to link the core bundle ID with the sub-bundle ID, because otherwise you can't link them. So the app group is kind of like the duct tape holding them together. So we now do app groups, and we're going to go on continue here. And now I will paste the identifier in here, which will start with group dot, right? And then the description will be iOS master, and then we'll do OneSignal app group. Always make sure to name things, because the moment you have 20 apps on there, it's just going to be Wild West. So now we're going to continue with this and register. There you go. Now, because I have lots of applications, I will search. And this is why I said you want to set it up like this. Because now if I go to my identifiers, back to app IDs, or you can just click on identifiers again to reset it. Not on create, on search, you'll be able to now look for iOS master, and you will get all the related ones for your application. So now we go on iOS master OneSignal bundle, right, on the OneSignal bundle, and we're now going to link the OneSignal bundle with the OneSignal group ID that we just created in the past step. So we go to app groups here, and now there is a configure button. So I'm going to click on configure, and now I need to look for it because I got plenty of them, but I'm just going to do Command F, and I'm going to look for iOS master, and I will get that in here. So I'm going to link the iOS master OneSignal app group with the OneSignal bundle ID, as you can see right inside of here, for my iOS master application. Let's save that and let's confirm. So now the OneSignal app group is linked with the OneSignal bundle ID. That creates the first link. Now the second link is linking the bundle, the app group with the core application bundle ID, the bundle ID containing everything in the app. So for that, I'm going to look up my app name again, iOS master. And then I'm going to go on iOS master, and now I am going to wait a little bit because Apple likes to take its sweet time. And then we're going to go to app groups here, and this app group link will just link to all the app groups that will be registering for this application. So I'm going to look for iOS master again, and I will just check that and link this to the core bundle ID for the whole application. Let's save this and let's confirm. There you go. So now we have successfully linked the first package. Now that we did this in detail, we'll be able to fly through the other ones. But keep in mind, the app clip target is actually set up completely different. So for this app clip target, I'm actually not going to copy the app clip bundle ID because we need to type it in because Apple has a different interface for that. You'll know in a second when I'll be talking about. So let's go back to certificates, identifiers, and profiles. And we'll be going to identifiers and we'll be clicking on the plus here. Now I will go to app ID because we're registering a new module for our application. And let's go on continue. And now we're going to click on app clip because it's not an app, it's an app clip. This is a specific distinction that Apple uses. Let's go and continue. And now we will link it with the parent ID. The parent ID will be iOS master, the core bundle ID that encloses the whole application. Now the product name will be the word clip with a capital C letter. Very important. Let's continue. And now I'm going to call this iOS master, and then I'm going to do app clip bundle, just like this. Now I'm going to enable more capabilities. The capability for the app clip will be app groups. It will be associated domains. Always, app groups is for everything. But in addition to app groups, it will be associated domains, so you can have deep linking. And then it will also be push notifications. There you go. Now we're going to continue and register this app bundle ID for this app clip module. Now, as we can see back into the Despia editor, this app clip target also has its own app group, right? So we're just going to copy this app group here, and we're going to go back to the Apple developer account. We're going to register a new identifier. We're going to go all the way down now to app groups, as you can see right here. We're going to go on continue, and then I'm just going to paste the identifier right inside of here. And now the description will be iOS master app clip app group. Just like this. And now we're going to go on continue and register. Now we have them registered. Now we need to link them again. So let's click on identifiers again, so we can kind of like go back to the app IDs, or you can click on here and just click on app IDs. And now we go to the search, and we're going to look for iOS master, or in your example, your unique application name. And you will see the app clip bundle right inside of here. Let's click on there, and now we're going to go to the app groups again, and we're going to go on configure, and we're going to look for iOS master. iOS master, which now there are two, but we need to make sure, and this is where most people make the mistake, they accidentally link it with the wrong one. The app clip bundle needs to be linked with the app clip app group, and the OneSignal bundle needs to be linked with the OneSignal app group, and etc., etc. Now, make sure that you select the right one. Right now, we're in the app clip, so we can only select the one for the clip, right? The app clip app group. This is why naming is also so important, because you want to get it right so you're not wasting your builds. Let's go and continue, and now we can save this and confirm. There you go. Now we have the app clip bundle linked with the app clip app group. Now we're going to go to the search again, and we're going to go to iOS master, or it was iOS master, right? And then we're going to go to the iOS master bundle ID. That is the one for the whole application. We're going to click on there, and now it will wait. It will load a little bit. And then we go again to app groups, and this one will actually link with all the app groups that are related to this application. So this is how it creates the relationship. So we go on Command F, and I'm just going to look for iOS master, and I will also link the other one. So the only one, we'll go and continue now. So the only one that will have all of them is the core bundle ID. That is the one that you're registering when you're creating your application in Despia. So let's save this. Let's confirm. Let's close this here. And now we have that registered. Now here comes the second last one. This will be the shared target. So now we just copy the shared target bundle ID. Now we're already in the flow. We're going to register a new identifier, app IDs. We're going to go on continue. This will be an app again. We'll continue. I'm going to now paste it once the site is loaded inside of the bundle ID, and we're always doing explicit, right? And then the description will be iOS master, and this will be share bundle, just like this, iOS master share bundle. And then the only capability needed for this one will be the app groups. So we can link it with its app group and create the relation to the application. Let's continue. Let's register. Now we're going to go on identifiers again, and we're going to go all the way down here to app groups. We're going to go on continue, and now we will go back to Despia. We registered the bundle ID now for the share target. Let's do the app group for the share target. Let's copy this one here, right? And let's go back to the Apple developer, paste the identifier. This is the one starting with group. And then the description will be iOS masters, or iOS master. And this will be share app group. Share app group. Let's continue and let's register. And now we have them all registered, but now we need to go back to app IDs. We need to look for our application name so we can link them all together. iOS master, just like this. And now we are going to go on iOS master share bundle, this one here, the one that we're currently working on. And now we have the app group capability already added to it. So we are going to go to the app groups here. We're going to go on configure. And now I'm going to look again for my app name, iOS master. And now we see all the ones that we currently have. It is important, we need to take the one that is related to this one. So because we are in the iOS master share bundle ID, I need to relate it with the iOS master share app group. So share relates with share, OneSignal relates with OneSignal, app clip relates with app clip, etc., right? And now we're going to go on continue. And now we can save this and confirm the change. Now we're going to look up again iOS master, just like this. We'll go back to the iOS master core bundle ID for the whole application. We'll wait a little bit. It usually takes a little bit. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to app groups to that capability. We're going to go to edit. We're doing Command F. I'm going to look up my app name again, iOS master. And now I will link all the ones that are including iOS master. So the core bundle ID again links with everything that relates to the application. Perfect. Let's continue. Let's save the change and confirm the change. Now, you almost made it. Bear with me. Now we'll do the smart widget. So we have this widget bundle ID that we're going to copy, and that's the last one. And after that, we can take a deep breath. And then we go to identifiers. We'll click on plus. We'll take the app IDs. We're going to go on continue. On app, we're going to go on continue. And now we'll wait a little bit. And now I'm going to paste my bundle ID inside of here. Now the description will be iOS master, and this will be widget bundle. There you go. And now I am going to go to app groups. Just like this, I'm enabling the app groups capability. That's all we need for the widget. Let's go and continue. Let's register. Perfect. Now that we have the bundle ID for the smart widget registered, the last thing we need to do is register the app group for that. So we are going to copy the app group for the smart widget. We're going to go back to Apple Developer. We're going to add a new identifier. We'll scroll all the way down because this one will be an app group. So we'll select app groups. We're going to continue. We'll paste the identifier, and then we'll take the description, and the description will be iOS master, or your app name, and I'll do widget widget app group. And then I'm going to continue, register, and then I'm going to look up iOS master, and I'm going to, where did the bundle ID go that we registered? That seems to be an error with Apple. Let's try reloading the page. That's fun. Let's go iOS master. Okay, I think we might have, interesting. It's not listed anymore. We'll look into that. No. Interesting. Oh, it's under app groups. There you go. I'm at the wrong one. This is important to note. You got to go to app groups and go to app IDs and then look up app IDs, because that's where we got to do the relations. So we're going to look up iOS master, and now there it is. But right now, our prime focus is iOS master widget bundle. We'll go into the widget bundle, right? It'll load a little bit. And then we are going to go to the app groups capability. We'll go and configure, and we will look up iOS master. And now we see all of them. Important, we are right now in the widget one. So we need to relate it with the iOS master widget app group, none of the other ones. Let's continue because we are in the widget one, right? Let's save and let's confirm this change. Now we can look up again, iOS master, and we are going to go to the core bundle ID, the bundle ID for the entire application. And we are now going to go back to the app groups. Once the page is loaded, we'll be going to the app groups for this one, go on edit. We're going to look up iOS master, and we will link all of the iOS master ones with the core bundle ID. Let's go and continue. Let's save and confirm this change. And only after doing this will your application successfully build. Everything else, if you leave this step out, if you make sure that they are not successfully related and linked together, it will not work. It will fail. So keep that in mind. You need to follow this process, and you need to make sure that each bundle ID is also linked with each app group, and then also this app group is linked to the core bundle ID, and all of them are. So very important to follow that. But if you have any questions in that process, you're unsure, your build failed, and now you got rid of your free credit, and you want to get another free credit because it was a mistake, just go and get free expert help, and we can get everything sorted out with you. We're here to help you across the whole process. So if you ever wasted a credit and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, I clicked the wrong button too fast, don't worry about it. Talk to us, text us a message. We can get all of that sorted out for you. So let's close that here. And now that we have registered everything, I think we're good. We can click on Publish Project. So we got the development team, we got the app ID, we have all of those here nicely registered. We're good to go. So let's click on Publish Project. This will now build our application. It will take a little bit. It will essentially now connect to an Apple M2 Mac machine. As you can see here, building application on Mac M2, powered by Apple Silicon. This can take up to 20 minutes, and then you're going to get this on your iPhone, and you can test it on TestFlight. Now, there are a few things before we test it on TestFlight that need to be done. Now, while it's building, this is the best time to do it. Let's go to the AppStore Connect, and let's go to the TestFlight section of our application profile. So I'll click on TestFlight, and now we need to create an internal testing team so we can actually test our application with TestFlight. So we're now going to internal testing. We'll click on plus, and I'm going to call this internal. I'll create, and now we need to invite our testers. In this example, I'm just going to invite myself, just like this. That was it. Now I have just successfully invited myself, and I'm part of the testing team. That's all I have to do. And now we just wait. Again, now you can just leave and you can just get yourself a coffee. You don't have to touch anything. It can take up to 20 minutes, sometimes an hour. So just step away from it, do something else, and I'll make a little cut, and then we'll look at the successful build together. I now got great news from Apple in an email. The build was successful. If I go to the Despia dashboard, you also see that the build was successful. So let's take a look at this, right? So now I will go to this email and I will click on View in TestFlight. This will now open my project as a real application in TestFlight that I can install. And now it'll install the application just like this. It'll take a little bit. And after this is done, we'll be able to test this on our real device. How cool is that? Let's open the application and let's allow. And let's take a look at that. And now it will say you're using a development license. Please upgrade before publishing to the App Store. Now, as you can see, I do have a watermark down here. And when you click on that watermark, it'll open the Despia landing page. But you can test everything fully in your application, and you can now test it. Of course, our application is not set up for native safe area because we're in full screen mode. We can set all those stuff up inside of our web application. Probably something that we also want to do is adjust some of the theming and all that kind of stuff. Meaning, one configuration that I saw, we had like a black bar when we started the application. That is likely because when you are having a light start screen, but the status bar is not available in your application, you want to go inside of your application here, where you have the settings for the status bar. That will be down here. And you also want to make sure that the dark mode status bar is also white. So that way, when you start the screen and your splash screen by default has a fixed color like this one here, it will always be adaptive to that color of the splash screen itself, so you don't have that ugly top thing kind of like going on. And then you also want to make sure that the text is black for both of them if you go full screen mode, right? If you go full screen mode, you don't need to set the status bar color in the settings here. Just make them all the same color and the matching contrast color, in this example black, that matches your splash screen. That's the only thing you need to note to make the experience super nice. Now, doing this change would require you to build the application again. And now, as you can see, I don't have enough credits, so it will ask me, hey, you can now purchase more credits, and then you can get more builds. 5 credits is 1 build. So 1 build is 5 credits, no matter how long it takes. Most of them take 5 to 10 minutes. They sometimes take an hour. You're not getting charged more than 5 credits per build. That is our policy. We're getting charged more if it takes longer, but we have it capped, so you're not getting charged more if it takes longer. So that's how you have that set up, and now you got it as a real native application. Now, the nice thing is we have updates over the air. We can start right now integrating native functionalities inside of Lovable to make it really amazing. So let's ask Lovable to just make the whole application blank, for example. Let's say make it blank and just have a button in the middle saying Despia native as an example, right? And now I'm going to add my prompt to add native functionalities. So if I go to lovable.despia.com, I can take a look at all the exciting native functionalities. So there are a few ones that we can set up. There are even more that we can do, but let's do a cool one, native contact access. This is everyone's favorite. So let's go on contact access here. Now, there's a video on how to set that up in Lovable, and there are more coming. We have like over 25 native SDKs. We're just making videos for all of them, which can take a few days till we have all of them on the documentation page. But I do have this prompt inside of here that I can just copy. What this prompt essentially is doing, it's saying add native contact access functionality to retrieve users' device context, which is a native feature. You can't do this in a web app on iOS, including names and phone numbers using the Despia SDK. Now, it will use under the hood this Despia SDK, as you can see inside of here, which is an NPM package that is also type safe, that will work perfectly in your Lovable environment. It will then import this using npm install Despia native. It will then import it into the page where you want to have the native functionality on there using import Despia from Despia native. And then you will request the contact permission using the Despia function that wraps the native deep link command that will trigger the native Despia runtimes functionality. And then you can read the data by doing await Despia read context to start the native method, the native deep link command, to ask the device to give you the contacts. And then you're listening here in this array for the context variables, which then returns you, because you're defining this as a constant, like we're doing down here, which will then give you access to the constants .contacts accessing the native context variable that was injected from the native Despia runtime back into your Lovable web application that runs in a native runtime consisting out of thousands of native files. So you can then get even native data into your Lovable application in just a matter of an hour. So this is essentially, we're just going to copy that, and we're just going to go to Lovable and paste this inside of here. Make it blank and just have a button in the middle saying Despia native contacts. When I click on it, show all native contacts. And let's do, and also add a button to request contacts. And then I'm going to do follow this instruction here very closely. Okay, and I'm going to fix my grammar. Instruction very closely, and I'm going to paste the prompt from our Lovable battle tested documentation page. I'll paste this inside of here, and now Lovable will be importing the Despia SDK into the project, giving us then full access to native system functionality inside of our Lovable application with just a prompt. So it will say, I'll create a blank app with contact access functionality using the Despia SDK as specified. Now we can see it installed the Despia native SDK from npm. It's now editing the files, it's updating the UI, and it's all done. Let's go on the code and let's verify that what we're doing is correct. You need to make sure that the import statement for Despia is correct, which it already looks amazing. It needs to be import Despia from Despia native. This is great. And then you need to make sure that the functions are also correct. This is Despia request contact permission : // that is successful. And then it will also be, if we scroll a little bit further down, await Despia read contacts : // we're getting the contacts, and then this will be called result, and we'll be returning result.contacts. That is also fully correct, exactly how it should be. So now we can just publish this to Lovable, and I'm just going to update my application here. And now it's updating the application, and my computer, for now my computer is back up running fantastic again. So let's look at the phone here. We can just simply close the application and go to TestFlight and open it again. It will open the application, and now it will say you're using a development license. Please upgrade before publishing to the AppStore. Let's go on OK here. And now, as you can see, I can request contact permission. It will say iOS master would like to access your contacts. I'm going to say continue. I'm going to select contacts. I want to do Apple Inc. and I want to do John Doe. And I'll continue, and I will now allow the application to access them, allow selected contacts. And now I do Despia native contacts. And as you can see, when I click on here, it loads the contacts and I can get them inside of my Lovable UI, meaning I can get native hardware, device, OS level data from the user's device, get it into my Lovable application. You can do even more amazing stuff like it. You can add OneSignal, remote push notifications, revenue cat, in-app purchases, haptic feedback to make it feel super native and amazing, and much, 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 much more, from HealthKit to NFC to all kinds of stuff. Much is supported. Everything that a native application needs, you can now add inside of your Lovable application, and you can ship it to the App Store, and it's 100% compliant. So now, one thing that personally bothers me is every time I open the application here, I get this black top bar, which I don't like. So I could rebuild the application, theoretically, and that would then take care of that. So if you want to rebuild the application, and as you can see, this one has the pop-up message, and you see like the top black bar, not that nice, while the splash screen is there. This happens because we updated the application interface here, right, in the editor, but we haven't published the update. So this change will fix that. Now, if I want to publish the update, and I try to run it, it will fail because I ran out of resources, and I can get more test resources starting at $25. We'll probably make it start at $10 or so for the credit packages. Now, if you want to get rid of all the limitations and the watermark and be able to ship it to the App Store and use it commercially inside of your application and, don't be in a development version, you can go to build production version and upgrade. It will then let you upgrade the production version. You can click on there and you can purchase the Despia license, either hybrid for iOS or Android, or only for iOS or only for Android, starting at $249, and then you can commercially publish it to the App Store. It removes the watermark. You get access to lifetime native app runtime updates. So every time Apple does something new, you'll have the latest features, and Google, Android. You can export the full source code, so you can open the whole application project with all the native files inside of Xcode or inside of Android Studio. You have full code ownership. It's human readable code, no spaghetti code like all the other no-code tools out there. And then you got one-click deployment to the App Store like we already showed you how to do. So check that out. But if you only want to build the development version and test it and show it to your client and pitch them, or test it for yourself to see how great Despia is and how easy it is to integrate with Lovable, you could also just build it and then just upgrade the credits one time, and that will give you a lower barrier to entry, and we're going to lower it even more. But now you get a free test build, so now you can already convince yourself how great Despia is, that you can just click a button on here and get native data loaded into your Lovable application. How great is that? Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about Despia, please don't hesitate to click on customer support in the editor. We are here 24/7. We reply in less than 2 minutes most of the times to get you moving and get you on the App Store ASAP. And Despia is fully compliant with the App Store. We have a bunch of applications regularly every week successfully published to the App Store. Everybody loves it, and check it out for yourself. I guarantee that you will be 100% satisfied with Despia and that you'll absolutely love it. Thank you so much for watching, and now you know that you can build anything, even a mobile application, a native mobile iOS and Android application inside of Lovable. You don't have to switch to a different tool and compromise all the amazing integrations that they offer you. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.